Have you ever looked at your paycheck, seen a number that should feel pretty good, and then looked at your bank account and just wondered where it all went? Yeah, if you're making a decent salary but you still feel like you're barely treading water, you are definitely not alone. And the reason might have way less to do with your spending habits and a lot more to do with your actual address.
So let's paint a picture. Imagine you're a young professional, right? You're in a big, expensive city, let's say Boston. You've done everything you were supposed to do. You got the degree, you landed the good job. On paper, you're killing it. But your day-to-day reality, it feels pretty different. Does that question hit a little close to home? It's this really frustrating feeling, right? It makes you second-guess everything. Like, what am I doing wrong here? But what if the answer is, you're not really doing anything wrong at all? I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures how absurd it all feels. You're paying this absolute premium for a life that feels anything but premium. You're constantly just one surprise bill away from real trouble, and honestly, it is exhausting. So what is this invisible force that's just draining your bank account dry? Well, there's actually a name for it, and giving it a name is the first step to understanding and maybe even fighting it. We're calling it the zip code tax. Now, let's be super clear. This is not an official tax from the government. Think of it as the hidden premium you pay just to exist in certain places. It's that extra cost that's baked into literally everything. Your rent, your groceries, your coffee. It just invisibly shrinks what your salary can actually buy. Okay, this is so important, so let's reframe this whole thing. This isn't about some personal failure on your part. It is about economic reality. Your financial struggles aren't necessarily a sign of bad budgeting. They're a direct result of your address. To really see this zip code tax in action, we've got to look at the hard numbers. So we're going to compare two very different cities, a high-cost hub like Boston and a much more affordable city, Kansas City. And trust me, the difference is, well, it's staggering. All right, let's start with the biggest expense for most of us, rent. In Boston, you're looking at an average of over $3,600 a month for a one-bedroom. In Kansas City, it's just over $900. That gap isn't just a number on a screen, it's life-changing. Just let that number sink in for a second. $33,000 a year. That's what the zip code tax is costing you every single year just on housing alone. Think about what you could do with an extra 33 grand. And this goes way beyond renting. Look at the dream of actually owning a home. In Boston, with prices over $1 million, it's basically a fantasy for most people. But in Kansas City, it's a totally achievable goal. You could literally buy 5 houses there for the price of one in Boston. 5. And here is where it all comes together. Check this out. Even if you took a pay cut to move, let's say you go from $80K in Boston down to $70K in Kansas City. Look at what's left after you pay your rent. In Boston, you've got $15,000 left for everything else, for the whole year. In Kansas City, you have $41,000. Your disposable income nearly triples. I mean, this chart tells the entire story, doesn't it? In Boston, a whopping 75% of your take-home pay is just gone, eaten up by housing. You're basically working just to keep a roof over your head. In Kansas City, that whole relationship is flipped on its head. You're working to live, not just to pay rent. So, if the numbers are this obvious, why do so many people stay put? Right? Because this decision, it's not just about math. It's about this really powerful emotional hurdle, the trade-off between what we think of as prestige and actual real-world purchasing power. Now, this is the strategic countermove. It's a concept called geo-arbitrage, and it's all about separating where you earn your money from where you live your life. In this age of remote work, this is like a superpower you can use to fight back against the zip code tax. This is the core trade-off, right here. You're giving up the perceived status of living in a so-called world-class city, and in return, you get actual financial freedom. You get the ability to, breathe. And let's be really clear, it is a trade-off. Big cities offer amazing benefits, opportunities, energy, culture, all that stuff. But you have to weigh those things against the very real, very tangible benefits of a lower-cost life, the ability to save money, to build wealth, and to just lower your financial anxiety. And here's the painful truth, isn't it? What is the point of living in a city that has all these amazing restaurants and museums and theaters if you can't actually afford to go to any of them? You're essentially paying the cover charge for a party you can't even get into. But here's the thing. This problem doesn't hit everyone equally. The zip code tax is a burden that falls almost exclusively on one group of people, trapping them in this financial no man's land, the middle income earners. This chart just lays it out perfectly. If you're super wealthy, you can absorb the high costs, no problem. If your income is on the lower end, you often qualify for subsidies and support programs. But if you're stuck right there in the middle, you're in the squeeze zone. You're on your own. And that is the trap. Your salary is just high enough that you don't qualify for any assistance, but it's nowhere near high enough to actually thrive or even feel comfortable in an expensive city. You become financially invisible. Okay, so the problem is clear. The numbers are, well, they're kind of undeniable. The real question is, what do you do about it? Let's break down the actual paths you can take from here. When you boil it all down, you have agency here. You really have three choices. 1, you can try to dramatically increase your income to overcome the costs. 2, you can consciously decide to lower your financial expectations and accept the trade-offs. Or 3, you can opt out of the game entirely by moving. There is no single right answer, but you do have to choose one. And this really is the final and maybe most important question to ask yourself. Are you paying this massive zip code tax because you truly love your city and you're getting your money's worth? Or are you paying it because you're worried about what other people might think if you left? Be honest. At the end of the day, remember this. The zip code tax is optional. The choice of whether or not you pay it is ultimately yours. If this breakdown helped you see that choice a bit more clearly, go ahead and like and subscribe for more explainers that help you make better decisions.